webinar on DAAD scholarships in Germany, and the main goal of this webinar is to talk about many scholarships that exist for PhD positions in Germany, and we will emphasize more on DAAD fellowships. DAAD is a public organization in Germany, and they provide scholarships mainly for masters and PhD, but they also provide some short-term scholarships for studies in Germany. And before going to discuss about DAAD scholarships or any other scholarships in Germany, it is very important to understand the different kinds of scholarships that are provided anywhere in the world. In this case, we are focusing more on the Bundesrepublik Deutschland, which means the People's Republic of Germany. As you can see on the slide, there are two types of scholarships awarded everywhere in the world, and let's say in Germany. One is annual fellowships, and the other one is personal funded positions. So when we talk about annual fellowships, this means they are organizational either, or they could be institutional. And irrespective of the fact, every year these positions are offered. For example, DAAD are those positions which are funded every year by the government. So the taxpayer money goes to this institute, and depending on the money, they have different plans. They have different programs in which you can apply for a master's, for a PhD, and for short-term grants. Then there are some institutional fellowships. They are also awarded annually, once a year. For example, ZIBI is one of the famous institutes in ZIBI means Zentrum in German means center for infection biology, then Helmholtz, then Max Planck. I have a few screenshots so you can see here. This is the Max Planck Institute, Max Planck Gesellschaft, that's German, and this is the website. You could see written in red and highlighted in yellow, and if you see, they have applications are welcome, and every year they have these fellowship positions which are known as Impress. So, and if you go here, Impress means International Max Planck Research Schools, and these are fellowships that are awarded annually every year. Similarly, this is ZIBI, the Center for Infection Biology and Immunity. This is in Berlin. It's one of the very famous microbiology and immunology centers. I'm giving the examples more from biology because I'm myself a biologist. And if you see here, they also actually have their fellowship program every year. And you could see in the upcoming August 12th, currently they are not accepting any applications. It's closed. But on August 12th, they will open it and they will start asking for applications, and this is a fellowship that is asked, that is that will come up and pop up every year. You could apply for that. Talking about DAAD, DAAD is also annual. Depending on the year, depending on the country, they provide fellowships. Depending on the funding, they provide every year PhD fellowships 13 to 25, and they mainly focus developing countries like India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, South African countries, South American countries, Peru, Argentina, I think Brazil also. They do not offer fellowships these days in China and some other countries that are no longer deemed as developing. But African countries have a good chance, Malaysian countries, the South Asian countries, all these countries, they have a very good chance of getting the DAAD fellowships, scholarships or fellowships. This is, you can see the page of a DAAD, and I have highlighted it in red, where you can find scholarships. You can read about everything, and each and everything is given on this page. What kind of scholarships are there? What is the scholarship database doing? What funding options are there? What are important prerequisites. I will also discuss many things in this webinar later on in detail, but you can also learn a lot from reading from the DAAD website. One thing that I should really clarify here is this DAAD scholarship database or DAAD website can also be used to find out what kind of master degree programs are available in English for you. For example, somebody wants to do an English medium of instruction and medium of examination, master's or PhD in architecture. How would he or she know if these kind of degrees exist in German universities? The best page is to come to daad.de, and here you can find everything. So you can find everything here. You will find every university that is present in Germany. And Germany, there are many universities, small, big, medium size, and there are many English language programs. So DAD is not only for scholarships, but also for finding your most relevant degree programs as well. This will give you an insight. This is now after talking about different fellowships which are awarded annually, like DAD, like Helmholtz, like ZB, like Impress. I will talk about private or individual grants. And after that, just a minute, please. This is depending on personal grants. For example, I'm a professor at the university. I have written a research grant, and when I write a research grant, in the research grant I say I want PhD students for this work to be done. And then when I get the grant, I announce the position on different websites. There are many websites for that, and there the students or the interested people can apply directly to the professor or to the web page of the university, depending on the type of grant and the type of institute they are in. And then you would be interviewed by the professor if it's okay. The other thing is, in this case, you are not going to be in front of a panel. You do not necessarily need to have a proposal, because this is already a project which has been funded to the professor, so he would already know what kind of work has to be done. He will tell you in the interview. Sometimes they will also explain it in the position, the ad in which they have the position announced, and there is no panel involved. And normally the cases are decided pretty fast, because it's only one position or two positions, and only the PI, the principal investigator, the professor, or the research scientist who have won the grant from a particular funding company would decide the case. Like in this case, you could see it's a PhD position in bioinformatics, and that's the code number which is there, and virus associated carcinogenesis. And here you could see there a bit of job description as well as what are the desired qualifications. And if you see right in the end, there is contact of a professor here. So this is something that you would rarely see in case of annual fellowships, because annual fellowships, they are decided by a panel, and not one person is responsible for that. And there each and everything will be counted: your qualifications, your credentials, how good is your CV, then how good is your research proposal, how good you have done in the interview. And based on that, you will get a collective scoring. And at the end of the evaluations, there is normally a panel meeting of 15 to 30 professors, and then they discuss each case one by one, and then they decide who gets the fellowship and who don't get the fellowship. But in this case, if you see, we can see Dr. Catherine Moreau, and in this case, this grant seems to be from Dr. Catherine. Sometimes more than one professors are there, and they decide it. So in this case, Dr. Catherine would be most probably looking at the applications, and she would interview the most appropriate candidates, and they will decide. So normally it's not more than a week or two. But in case of fellowships, you have to wait like The whole process takes 8 to 10 months, and even after the interview, you have to wait 3 to 4 months, depending on the type, depending on the country. So I can give you examples from Pakistan because I had um, seen it and I know about Pakistan, but should be similar more or less in other countries as well. The DAAD is actually the abbreviation of Deutsche Akademischer Austauschdienst, and this means the German Academic Exchange Program. What do DAA? What do they do? Is actually one of the largest. No, it is the world's largest funding organization. And what is the aim? They want exchange of students, international exchange of students. They want international students from all over developing countries to come to Germany and graduate here and learn about German culture, know about German people, and after that, you have a choice that you could go back to your country or you could find a job in Germany or anywhere else in European Union or anywhere you want. It was founded in 1925, so it means it's pretty old. And if you see um, their motto is they want to change the world by exchange, which means they want students exchange between the countries from like different countries come to Germany and they learn about how German culture is, how German people work, how are the things in advanced universities of Germany. A DAAD for countries, developing countries like Pakistan, Bangladesh, India, Sri Lanka, African countries, South American countries, exist where we do not really exchange because only the developing country students come to Germany to study, not the Germans going to those countries, but they have some programs in which, for example, with the States, for example, with Canada, for example, with Australia, where the Australian students come for a semester to Germany and the German students go for a semester to Australia or States or Canada or New Zealand. So there's those kind of programs also exist here. They are specifically for German students, not for us, outside the scope of this webinar. So now, until now, it was very boring, and it was pretty much like a lecture of any university. And you would be thinking that, oh, is the same regulation boring stuff? No, it's not. We are gonna now discuss it in a different manner, different way. Please give me a few seconds. Thank you. Now, so how would I explain this about the fellowships? I would go question by question, and then I believe when I discuss question by question, most of the questions that people might be asking, I'm not looking at my YouTube, my moderators are currently looking at them. And after that, we will collect the questions if any of question is asked again or any of the question I missed. Who can apply? How many years of funding are there and what are the requirements? So anyone from developing countries can apply, but there's a condition. Your degree must not be 6 years older before or on the date of the deadline. So let's say I graduated in 2018 and the deadline is 31st August 2021. So I am well inside the deadline, so that's 3 years or something. But if I have graduated in 2012, 1st January to 31st December 2012, which means my degree is already 9 years old, so I'm not eligible for DAAD. So this is one thing, that 6 years minimum, maximum your degree could be 6 years older, otherwise you cannot apply. How many years of funding for masters? 2 years of funding. For PhD, normally initial approval is for 3 years of funding, but normally it's pretty easy that people get 6 to 12 months of extra funding. So up to 4 years of funding is eligible, allowed, but 3 years is pretty normal. 3.5 year is very common. In some cases, 4 and 4.5 years could also be availed. This is for PhD studies. As such, DAAD does not offer postdoc fellowships. They offer postdoc fellowships only for those people who want to settle in Germany. So if you want to have to do a postdoc on DAAD, you must already be settled enough in Germany. not German, but settled enough in Germany, in which you can claim that I want to settle in Germany. That's in a university. I want to become a professor. Then there is some special programs of postdocs. Or if you get a PhD from DAAD, then you are one of the alumnus of one of the alumni of DAAD, and then there's a program for a postdoc. Normally, they also have short-term grants for 1 year, for 6 months, and for 3 months that I will discuss in later on. The requirements: 6 months of maximum 6-year-old degree. IELTS are very important. 6.5 is the minimum IELTS, and the relative score in TOEFL. I think these are the only two tests that are very important. Without in the years before, I believe until 2013, 14, or 15, you could also get the fellowship without these tests. But I think now they are pretty strict on it, and without these English tests, it will be very difficult to get through. How to apply, where to access, what is the difference? So how to apply, this is very important to understand. DAAD or DAAD have local offices everywhere, literally in every country. Since I am a Pakistani, many of my students have applied from Pakistan. Many of them have succeeded, some of them have not succeeded, which is pretty common. And there is a website I will explain in the later part of the webinar about Pakistani office, where you could see the dates. So, and you could see how to apply. And the difference is that every country has its own dates. So that does it like they have teams. So they have different dates for like Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka. The same team cannot go everywhere. So the dates definitely vary. That's why the process starts somewhere in June, July, and it ends in the end of February or March, where they announce the results. Normally interviews in Pakistan are held in the middle of November, and the applications they start right at the end of July or the first few days of August. So there's a website. So just Google DAAD Islamabad and you will get it. Or I do not know if DAAD New Delhi will work, or DAAD, let's say, Buenos Aires. I believe it will work because they have local offices everywhere. Most probably these local offices would be in the capital cities. The deadlines I have already explained. For I know about Pakistan, normally it's the end of August. So either it's 31st August or it's 1st September. The portal is open only for 1 month. 31 days the portal is open, and in these 31 days you have to submit your application. What are the benefits, what are the financial gains, and what are the non-financial gains? Of course, the non-financial gains are that you interact with so many people. Germany is a very global country. You would see people coming from different nationalities. In the European Union, they are always mixing up. So you will learn a lot. You will become a lot independent. You know, people from the East, we are very much pampered by our parents. But when you go here and when you are alone, you have to do a lot of things on yourself. And this adds to your personality. You become independent. And this is the non-financial gain. The financial gains are, of course, you will get 1,000 euros per month for master's fellowship and 1,200 euros per month for PhD fellowship. If somebody is married, they can bring their spouse as well, and the spouse will also get a minimal amount from DAAD. Another financial gain is that if you have kids, you will get some money for the kids as well. And if you are living in an expensive city, for example, Munich in English, where the rents are really high, there you will also get like 20% rental help from DAAD as well. One of the non-financial gains is after completing your graduation, passing your degree, either master's or PhD, you will get job search visa for 18 months. And after getting your degree in the 18 months, if you find out a visa job, you can stay in Germany as long as you are working here. Okay, for master's scholarships, you have to secure admission in a German university beforehand. Definitely, this is understood. And there is a website where you can access all the German universities, and you have to apply through proper channel. And then, irrespective of this, you have to apply for DAAD fellowship. And how do you do this? I will show it in the end. And for masters, there is a very strict rule that you must have 2 years of professional experience. So, like, if somebody has done a master's degree in architecture, he should have been working for at least 2 years. More than 2 years is okay, but at least 2 years. Somebody has done a PhD in botany, so he must be working professionally. It's not like somebody has done a degree in chemistry and he has been working as an architect in a firm. That's not professional experience. Funding is around for 2 years, and it's around 1,000 euros. In German universities, there are very few tuition fees, but you still have to pay your tuition fees. There will be no extra money paid to you for the tuition fees, but the tuition fee is roughly 200 to 300 euros per semester, which is pretty nominal, and you can easily find a way to pay from the fellowship that you are getting. You do not need any proposal because it's a master degree. You do not need to contact a lab or a professor or a PI, and you do not need a consent that, yes, I am going to support this student for his master's. This is something that is needed in case of PhD students. And the deadline, you have to apply on the same portal, and you have to apply exactly the same way PhD students apply. And the deadline is also the same for these fellowships. So the difference is that you do not need any proposal, you do not need any consent from a professor or a lab, and you have only 2 years of um, funding, and you must have 2 years of professional experience. Deadlines can vary in different countries, so you please check your local DAAD office. And this can also be checked when you go to the DAAD scholarship portal, where you can enter your country where you want to do the PhD or the masters, and enter what kind of program you want to do, masters or PhD. There also, DAAD will give you a link where to confirm these. This is the main focus. Our webinar is to do a PhD scholarship through DAAD. So step by step, the first step you have to do, contact a professor or a PI. And I will strongly focus, it's already 11th of July. So you already are a little late if you haven't contacted any professors. Normally European professors go on vacations in the middle to late July. So start sending emails today, and start contacting professors, because this is compulsion. You have to have a professor consent that, yes, I support this student, and I can give him space in the lab, and I can supervise his PhD proposal. Then you have to write a good proposal. How would you write a good proposal? That I will explain in the next few slides. Then you have to go to the portal of DAAD, and of course do very good in the interview. One of the misconceptions that I have been listening, reading, and hearing a lot from my students, my friends, students of my friends, that without publications you will never get a good PhD position outside Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, all these countries. This is not true. Of course, when you have papers, when you have publications, this add to your CV, but it's not necessary. And we have cases where people with 6 or 7 papers could not get a PhD positions, and people with no publications have got DAAD fellowships. So publication is good, but it's not necessary. It's not a necessity. If you have them, good. If you don't have them, doesn't matter. Have a good proposal and a very good interview. These two are really, really important. And your interview will be 95 to 98% based on the proposal that you made. So you have to actually defend your proposal for getting the PhD fellowship, and then after 3 or 4 years, you have to defend what you have done experimentally, if it's an experimental science. And IELTS and TOEFL are very important, but IELTS and TOEFL, they give you time until the declaration of the results. Normally, the results are declared in February. Again, this is for Pakistan. For other countries, it could change. And until the beginning of February, you could do to a TOEFL or IELTS and submit the results later on. But without it, it's not gonna happen. You will not gonna get the fellowship. So you must do IELTS or TOEFL. A very important thing that I want to discuss to students in developing countries like Africa, South America, India, Bangladesh, and more Pakistan, because I'm a Pakistani, so I'm more definitely concerned for my own country fellowmen. No offense to anyone, but this is natural. Everyone would do like this. IRSIP is already in tatters. HEC is trying to shut it down. But even if you go for IRSA for 6 months, you could come to Germany for 3 months or for 6 months or for 1 year. These are short-term grants. The selection process is exactly 100% the same I explained for PhD. And imagine if you go to Canada for 6 months on IRSIP, if you are enrolled in a university as a PhD student in Pakistan. I think India have something similar programs. And then you come to München, TU München, or you come to Philips University in Magdeburg or anywhere in Germany, and then you spend 6 months here. So these 6 months and 6 months, IRSIP plus DAAD, it gives you a lot of exposure. You learn a lot. And we know we are developing countries, we do not have facilities, we do not have money for research that much. So in this 1 year, you can really, really excel. So I always tell my students, go for IRSIP, but also try on DAAD. It doesn't matter if you are already enrolled. If you are already enrolled, they will prefer you. Apply for a 1 year grant or apply for a 6 years grant on DAAD. And again, all these details will be available on your local DAAD website and on the major daad.de website as well. But they exist. Very few students know about it, but these things exist. 3 years, 3 months, 6 months, and 1 year. How to contact a professor? So it's very important to contact a professor, but first check what's your interest. I'm interested in artificial intelligence. I will definitely look for professors in artificial intelligence. I would not do. Many of the students, unfortunately, no offense, from India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, they don't even see if the person he or she is writing to is a professor or not, or not a professor, but a group leader or not. I am a very, very senior postdoc currently, working on academic staff position here in Germany. I get emails from many Indians, from many Pakistanis, and on LinkedIn. I want to do PhD. I want to do this. Go check my profile. Am I a principal investigator? Am I having my own group? No, I don't have my own group. I cannot take students. I cannot supervise students. I am myself working with the professor on a project. So do your homework. These kind of things make you look ugly. These kind of things make you look bad. Do your homework. Check if there's a professor. So when you check the profile of the professor, you would see he has PhD students. You would see he had like PhD students who have graduated in the past. And then you will know, yes. And then you say current projects. So current, these are projects and completed projects. And there you could see, yes, this guy has been working or he has worked in the projects where I want to work. And maybe he still wants to work on something. And then you write to him. And then if not, find someone else. Do not just randomly fire. It's not going to work. These professors, they do not have time for your emails. If you do not write a good email, maybe they would read just one letter or one sentence and delete. So stick to the point. Do not go everywhere. Write to 3 persons or 2 persons, but they should be most relevant to your work. Do not shoot arrows in the air in the dark, giving yourself a misconception that it will hit the target. It's not going to happen. It never happens. How to write an email? So the first thing is stay formal. This is one mistake that I see a lot in South Asian people. Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Nepal, Bhutan. I want to do a PhD with you. I want you. No, you cannot use the word want. No. You have to be formal, you have to be polite. I would like to, kindly, please. So, and the, very important is you have to stay to the point, you have to stay very short, and you have to have a catchy subject line. If you do not have a catchy subject line, it's not going to happen. And it is very important, it's very important. So you can design a better catchy, a better line in the subject than me. Interested to join your group via third party funding DAAD. So the third party funding means the professor does not have to pay you anything. It's a DAAD funding, you know. Third party means he doesn't have to. It's a third party. You come to the university, to the group of the professor, and you do PhD with him, but he doesn't have to pay you anything. He will get some money from DAAD for the consumables like chemicals and stuff, and you will get your salary from DAAD. So these kind of words are very important to highlight in the subject line, because professors, I'm telling you, I'm not a professor. I am just a senior postdoc. And I get these kind of emails a lot. I want to do a PhD with you, please support me. I want to do a PhD, I'm really interested in these kind of, like, I am nothing in front of these professors, and I delete these kind of emails. So how can you expect these big professors to read this? So when you see a third party DAAD funding, the professor would suddenly know, oh, okay, let's check the student. If he's a good one, I want to have someone to work on this project. I will have a student, he will work on this project. I won't have to pay him. I would also get some money for the consumables. Great. But inside the email, you have to be again very much to the point, and you have to use I would like to, I would kindly, I would appreciate, please. So these kind of sentences and words and phrases are very important. 2 to 3 lines, not more, 2 to 3 lines. And then in the end, you could say my updated CV. But if you have not yet received a Nobel Prize at this stage after masters or bachelors, you cannot have anything in Asia that your CV could be more than 1 or 1.5 page. Stick to really short, really make it short. If you have a Nobel Prize already won, then of course you can have a 20 pages CV. But if you have not, which you definitely have not, stick to 1 page CV and 1.5 pages, not more. That's more than enough for you. No cover letters. Do not attach any cover letters in this email. Do not write long emails. Do not talk about your marital status. Do not talk about your father's name. Do not talk about your domicile. Do not talk about the tehsil and district. No, nothing. Do not talk about research proposal. Do not try to get over smart here. Like, some people give the idea, you read about them and then you say your this research was doing very good, but if you have done this way, no. In the first email, nothing, just a small CV and a small letter. Wait, and try to write as many professors as you can. Do not copy paste the same email to everyone, otherwise you will kill yourself. That's like suicide. Give the proper importance to every professor they deserve. And if you copy paste, copy paste, copy paste, trust me, you will make mistakes, and these professors, they will find it out, and then it's not good, because this will make a bad impression. And these professors have linkages, and they could talk like, these Indian students or these Pakistani students, they don't care and they just copy and paste. So do not do this. Stand out. Who will win? Who will stand out? Who will win? Who will be the different? Who will win? Who will perform better? Who will win? Who is more motivated? And someone who is more motivated, he will definitely take the extra mile. About the proposal, this is very important. As I told you in the beginning, you check the professor's web page, and after all these things, you start to write him an email. But you check your research interests, if it coincides with the professor's group, if he has been doing something similar currently, or he has done it in the past. Maybe if he has done it in the past, he has some kind of expertise, capabilities. Like when I started teaching at Comstas University, Islamabad, after first class of applications of nanobiotechnology, a student came to me and she said, "Sir, I want to do my master thesis with you." I was like, "Okay, great. but I wanted to work in nanobiotechnology. I said, okay, wunderbar, great. Wunderbar means great. I appreciate that. I do work in nanobiotechnology. Next, she said, I'm really interested in nanorobotics. I was like, what? Nanorobotics? Do you think I work in nanorobotics? Do you think I can work in nanorobotics? You might be interested. This is great. But go to NASA. I think the best place for you is Maryland Institute of Biotechnology or NASA, because I cannot do nanorobotics. I work at the interface of microbiology, molecular biology, biotechnology, and nanomaterials. But robotics and nanorobotics, no. So you have to check what the supervisor or what the potential supervisor is doing, and then you have to say, I want to do this. But these kind of proposals for the DAAD has to be mutual. So you tell the professor. If he replies you in a positive way, most of them will not reply you. Some of them will reply you, no, I don't have space. Some of them will reply, yeah, but I'm very busy, I'm going to retire very soon. Very few will say, let's discuss. And there, when you discuss with him, what are your potential interests. But those interests must be coinciding with his interests, because if you want to do something, the professor has neither the interest nor the capabilities, neither the facilities in his lab, how can he facilitate you? That's you're shutting your door on yourself. So very important to twist and turn around the interest of the professor, so that when you say something, you're like, yes, I have done this kind of work before, and these are a few things I wanted to do. I could not find a student, I could not find funding. And then together you can start working on a proposal and you can make a proposal. So this is very important, very, very important. Um, the last thing that I want to discuss here is about the DAAD portal. How do you, because many of the people are scared of a DAAD portal. It's not easy. It's pathetic that nowhere it is mentioned what is the DAAD portal and how to access it. So I'm going to tell you how do you do this, how do you apply, and how do you uh, get access to DAAD portal. So until now, we have discussed about many things about DAAD, and now we are going to talk about some other stuff. The page that DAAD has is, just give me a second. This is the page of the DAAD portal, if you see. So the address is portal.daad.de. So I can write again, portal.daad.de. Here you go, and you could see this is already signed in from Aisha Taleb. That's my wife. She's a DAAD scholar. And once you come here, you would see start, you would see project funding, you would see personal funding. And in this case, you should go to personal project funding, personal funding, yes? So when you go to personal funding, then you would get tabs like start, application funding overview, application. So these are like things for, you should go to application. When you go to application, there will be a deadline, and for each country, it is opened. The DAAD portal is opened within the deadlines. After the deadlines and before the deadlines, it's closed. So now, look, I click here, and then there are different programs. So in your local, these are all the programs that are opened now. So in your local DAAD office, you will find out which is actually the program you have to apply. There will be a code like this is code 575965334. These kind of codes. But currently in Pakistan, it is closed. It's gonna open maybe in on first of August. You should make a page here in the DAAD portal, and I can search here PH. Or I don't know if you are not. No, let's see. So you see, this is one program, ACE8. I don't know, this is for some country like this one. in 2021, but now you have to apply for 2022 because 2021 has already been decided in February, which means the call is not yet opened. It will be opened in the next few days. You can start working, finding out the professor for yourself and start working on the proposal. But if I click here, it will tell me this. Then I have to come here and then I have to say the country of residence. Let's suppose I'm from Afghanistan. I'm not from Afghanistan, but let's suppose I'm from Afghanistan. And you can see this is the, so when you enter the type of program that you would do, it will tell you the funding period. Normally for PhD it will be 3 years and for master's it will be 2 years. And then commencement of the funding studies, you would see here, like let's say doctoral candidate. Yeah. And okay, and then you go forward from here. And since the call is not open, that's why this application is not going forward. When the call will be open, you will see a tab of next. And then what will happen? You will receive a really long PDF file, a really long PDF file. And in that PDF file, you will see it will be a very long PDF file of like 17 to 18 pages, and you will fill that PDF file offline. You would download the PDF file and you will fill all the information in the PDF file, and then you will come back to the portal and you would attach that PDF file in the portal. And the PDF file is set in such a way that it will extract all the information from the PDF file into the DAAD portal. And after that, you do not need to do anything else. Just upload your research proposal on it. That would be 4 to 5 pages. The template is given by DAAD on their website. Even on the portal you would find it. Your CV, your project plan, that's a part of the proposal, but in the Gantt chart, that's the schedule of the proposal. A written letter from the professor or the PI, signed and stamped. Your degrees, all of your master degrees, master transcript, bachelor degree, bachelor transcript. You do not need any verification at this stage. At this stage, you just scan and upload. After that, once you are accepted, once you are offered a position, then they will ask you for verified degrees. Until this stage, you do not need anything, and then you apply for that, and then you wait. If your application would be amongst the good guys, amongst the talented ones, with a good proposal, you will have an interview, and after the interview, you will have a result in next 2.5 months. In Pakistan, normally the applications close on 31st of August or 1st of September. They open for only 30 days or 31 days, and normally they open either on 31st July or 1st August. And then the interviews are somewhere in the middle of November, and the decision comes mid to late February. And then you can start your studies until October the next year. DAAD also provides you a 4 months opportunity to learn intensive German, which I recommend everyone who gets the position to follow, because it's very important to learn German. It's very good to have German, and after that you should continue, because if you want to stay after your PhD, you have no compulsion like in some other fellowships, like the one very famous from the United States of America, Fulbright. So Senator John Fulbright, there you have to return to your country at any cost. America will not let you continue. But in case of DAAD, you do not need to go back to your country. You can stay in Germany forever. And if you have good German, it will definitely help you. This was all about my webinar today, and now I have to ask my moderators to give me if there is any question that I missed. Thank you. Okay, I received a couple of questions. Let me explain these two questions. So the first question is, how can the proposal help your country? It's a very good one. So normally, you should follow, you should focus on the problems of your country, and you should go for proposals discussing how this will help your country. And there are many things in research for Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, and South American countries. For example, one of the idea that I can give you, these kind of questions the professor would ask would give you a better opinion, but I can tell you from microbiology point of view in our country, and in Bangladesh, India, Afghanistan, all these countries, the use of antibiotics is a lot. And these antibiotics, they are going everywhere in all kind of waters, in all kind of tap waters, not tap waters, flash waters, due to which the emergence of multiple drug resistance is getting higher and higher. And the more these drug resistance are getting higher, the less the more misery they bring. So when you have a problem like this will help the country, this will help the whole world. So these kind of questions you can always get in the interview. Is it necessary to write a proposal with a professor, or you can design it on your own? You can design it on your own, as I have discussed earlier. But as I discussed and gave the example that one student wanted to work with me in how do you say, in nanorobotics, and she might have one of the best proposal of nanorobotics, but I'm not an expert. Neither it is in my profile. Have you seen any nanorobotics paper in my profile? Have you seen any nanorobotics projects in my profile? So it's very important that if you have a project designed, you should then search for a professor, search for a principal investigator who works in the same line. You can do that, definitely. He will appreciate you. But you have to look, the proposal that you have designed, can it be done with the particular professor that you are contacting? Can it be done in the particular lab? Does the lab have the facilities? So like I want to work on let's say solar panels. I want to make solar panels where we have a better efficiency rate. The conversion of light energy into electricity is more. And I want to work with a professor who's a biochemist and he works with proteins. So is that the right way? No. Then you have to find the right research. And all these things have to be discussed with the professor. So the first thing is find a professor and then go for the proposal. My opinion is that. But if you have a bombastic, a really good proposal, then you search for the professor in the same line. Otherwise, it's not going to work. What kind of experience is required? Experience is required only if you want to apply on DAAD for masters. So professional experience, let's say you are an aeronautical engineer. Let's suppose you have done your bachelor's in aeronautical engineering, so you should have worked at least 2 years in somewhere in where you had been working with aeronautics. You are a chemical engineer or you are a food technologist, you are then BS in food technology, and sorry for that, and then you want to do a master's in Germany through DAAD. What would you do? You would have at least 2 years of food technology experience in a company like MDH, like Mitchell's, like Shan. And so any kind of experience where you had been working with what you have learned in your degree. Let's suppose you have done a bachelor's in medicine, the doctors, bachelor of medicine and bachelor of surgery, MBBS, and you have been working 2 years in a hospital. Then you have 2 years of experience and you are eligible for a master's scholarship on DAAD. Let's see if I have any more questions. I think this is all. And if you have any more questions, you can type in the in the comments, and I would try to come back and type and give you the answers. Next week we will have another webinar on CV and motivation letter. And this was all. It was really nice to have you all, and it was nice to have you to listen to me. I wish all of you best of luck, and do let me know how it goes for you. And I hope to see some of you in Germany sooner than later. Thank you. I'm going to stop the stream now. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Bye bye. Have a good time.